Banned and restricted announcement June 30th, 2025. The following cards will now be banned in standard. Corey Steelcutter, banned. Abuelo's Awakening, banned. Monstrous Rage, banned. Heartfire Hero, banned. Up the Beanstalk, banned. Hopeless Nightmare, banned. This town ain't big enough, banned. Hot diggity dog. Yeah, pretty sweet. This is definitely going to shake up standard quite a bit. It essentially nuked all of the biggest and most powerful decks for the most part, and is going to leave a lot of room for trying new things and some creativity. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some decks that got neutered and what might take their place. Most of this is off the cuff. I think this happened like 20 minutes ago or so no prep for this video. Corey Steelcutter. The lack of that will neuter the Izzet deck. It really wasn't a deck before Steelcutter. It was basically mono red aggro with some dive down type effects, maybe some shore ups in there, some flood maul bounces, but it really was just a worse version of mono red, and Steelcutter put it over the top. It does have other good cards. It has the Drake Catcher, which is a very good 2-drop, and it now has Vivi. Vivi is the new card that, like, I guess if something were to improve the old Izzet deck that couldn't compete with mono red, like, it would have to be Vivi that took it over the top. But Vivi is significantly easier to interact with versus Steelcutter, as Steelcutter is an artifact and necessitates having specifically artifact hate to deal with it, whereas all your creature removal spells that are going to kill the Hatcher are probably also going to kill a Vivi, and 0/3 Vivi dies to some decent stuff like cut down any 3 damage effect. So we'll see how it probably drops to a B tier deck, I think. In best of 3, in best of 1, it already is a B tier deck essentially. It's just not fast enough, surprisingly. But even best of 3, I think it'll drop to a B tier deck, and we'll have to see if VV is enough to keep it in the A tier. But I think not. You can still go VV plus stock up, but now there's no Monstrous Rage, so you might have to do like some other +3 pumps. Anyway, it's a big neuter to that deck for sure. Izzet wasn't played really before Steelcutter, and without Steelcutter, I think it'll essentially be gone. I think you can play it casually more as like a B tier deck, but it's not going to be the same as Steelcutter. Abuelo's Awakening, huge. Deck's fine. It's just like I don't know. Nobody really wants to sit around and wait for their opponent to like combo off for 20 minutes, and sometimes they don't even have the nuts. They can still lose. So if you're in a competitive environment, it often behooves you to wait the full 20 minutes to let them do their full combo in case they mess up or they mill their win con or whatever. So that one's like not a very fun. I don't think it's a good part of a well-designed game. And so even though I've actually had fun, I qualified with the deck once and I've played a good amount of it. I'm okay to see it go. Totally happy to see it go. So that deck is squashed as is. There are certainly other ways to reanimate Omniscience. Yuna is now in the formats. You could play 5 Yunas, or sorry, 4 Yunas and 4 Omnisciences and some other stuff and try to make that work. There was already a pre-existing Squirming Emergence Omniscience deck that was winning, close to 50%, maybe like 52%, 53%. So solid, like B or C tier deck. Wasn't, blowing people out of the water. Nothing like the crazy consistent 60% plus win rate Azorius version. So the Omniscience still is in standard. I'm sure someone will break it again the next 5 years. It's around for 5 years. But for now, it is squished. And if you like that card, you can still play it in like Sultai Emergence Omniscience decks. Totally fine there, but it won't be as dominant, which I am totally content with. So that's cool to see that one go. Monstrous Rage and Heartfire Hero. Wow, some biggies. So Rage is the one that everyone talks about and complains about. Makes it almost never profitable to block, which is very frustrating. The other thing that it does, which people don't talk about as much, and if you watch any of the Pro Tour, you saw this happen, especially like in the final rounds. The other thing it stops you from doing is being reactive, which I think is a really interesting and fun part of the game, like holding open mana for your opponent's turn to do things. The cost of being wrong and holding open like a removal spell for your opponent when they have Monstrous Rage and can bump up the toughness out of removal range is so high that you are forced to use lots of removal on your own turn. So if you watch like the final game of Izzet versus Mono Red, every single turn they had removal, they fired it off immediately because the risk is too big to potentially have it blow out by the opponent. And so beyond the blocking, which everyone talks about, I also like that. I think it makes the game more interactive and that there's more upside to holding open mana for your opponent and try to get the 2-for-1. Whereas now it's just like the risk is so high that if in the finals of the Pro Tour, they're just all their instant speed spells are coming off at sorcery speed, then yeah, it's kind of a waste of instant speed, which is a cool part of the game, right? It's the trap cards of Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap cards of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are the best part of Yu-Gi-Oh! And instants are kind of our version of that. So it's good to see that go for that reason as well. Heartfire Hero banned is interesting because, you know, the question is if just the Rage is banned, then does the mouse package stick around? You know, you can still put double strike on the hero. There are other ways to give it trample. You can suit up Ember Cleave, you know, even without Monstrous Rage, you could figure out a way. And by the way, I think it's pretty interesting. I qualified, I'll probably post this video later today. I qualified for the qualifier event playing mono red in Pioneer because they messed up. There actually was a bug in the game. It was supposed to be historic, but the qualifier, pre-qualifier round was Pioneer. And in Pioneer, you have access both to Ember Cleave and Annex to the Forge and all that jazz, and also Monstrous Rage and Heartfire and Manifold Mouse. And nobody plays Ember Cleave in Pioneer, even though you have access to it, because Monstrous Rage and Manifold Mouse is just a better Ember Cleave than Ember Cleave it is itself. So if you're looking for what power creep looks like, that is it. But without the one-drop mouse, you know, what happens next? Mono Red will be fine. It will still win lots of games. It'll probably still be A tier or top of B tier at the worst. Instead of the hero, you could always run the Swift Spear, which is a very decent card. Instead of Rage, there are plenty of other synonymous pump spells, right? Everything will be a little bit worse, but there are lots of playable pump spells you could play. I think the most interesting question is, do you still play the mouse package? Do you still play Manifold Mouse and the Ember Heart Challenger without the hero? Emperor Challenger is generically just a very good card anyway. Manifold Mouse is a little bit more suspect because it's vastly better with the one drop. And yeah, I don't actually know. I think one of the things that could happen is people could transition into Boros. And there is a white mouse that has Offspring, which is not bad. It's like a 1-mana 1/2. You can Offspring it for 2 of those suckers. I think whenever you target it, maybe all your other mice or all of your mice get like +1/+0 till end of turn. It's not a bad card by any stretch of the imagination. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Manifold Mouse sticks around into a Boros package and maybe that little mouse comes in. But I'm not so sure it'll be played in Mono Red. I'll have to go back and look at what other 2-drops would come in. But Mono Red will be fine. But yeah, it'll be a lot worse without both Rage and Hero into Manifold Mouse. It's great. So this is just really wonderful. I think it's going to open up all sorts of things. The death trigger isn't as annoying, right? Anyone who has just a destroy effect isn't super penalized by Heartfire Hero blowing up in their face. So this is really wonderful for a lot of reasons. Up the Beanstalk. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really interesting because the last Pro Tour was won by you know, Zur Beanstalk shenanigans. So this is cool. You know, free draw card every single turn for the rest of the game for 2 mana is pretty ridiculous, and it also replaces itself immediately. You know, if they could have nerfed it so that it doesn't draw the first time it comes in, that would be a decent change. But the fact that someone plays it, you have to immediately get lost it, and you're already down a card. It just sucks. So like, yeah, pretty happy to see this card go. I do think it makes more space for some Yuna versions, because there are some cool decks around that card. There's the new 2-drop, I forget what it's called. It's like a 2-mana sorcery. Surveil 2, I think, gain 2 life, and then you can play it back from the graveyard for 4. You get the Surveil 2 and life again, plus it comes in as like a 4/4 creature, and you exile the top card of your library, and maybe you get that to your hand. That's a good card. Then next turn you get 2 more green mana. Then, you know, so it's like that card is looking for space, and it competes with the Up the Beanstalk for you know, space and decks, and so I think that card is definitely going to see more play, and the Surveil sets it up for some nice Yuna stuff, both turn 2 and turn 4. So I think Yuna could be a bigger player now that Beanstalk is gone. There are also some other new cards from Final Fantasy. There's like a new 3-drop, which is kind of like the Overlord of the Hauntwoods, like a 3-mana 3/2 or something that fetch the basic from your deck to the land, deck to the battlefield. Does something else, I don't know. But it also sets you up for Yuna pretty well. And when it dies, it goes to the graveyard. You can reanimate it off Yuna anyway. So I think we could see some more Yuna stuff with Beanstalk gone, and make space for some cards that she wants to run anyway. Hopeless Nightmare and This Town Ain't Big Enough. Interesting. That's kind of like the budget deck of the format, minus the rare lands if you run Esper, but you can run just Orzhov. I think this is fine. It's really just annoying if everyone plays it. I don't mind running up against this deck every once in a while. I will say discard effects in general are not always everyone's cup of tea. If your opponent has you discard all your cards, you never get to play your cards. It's not a super fun play pattern. So from a game health, game enjoyment standpoint, not having play Hopeless Nightmare, turn 1, discard a card. Turn 2, play a Pixie, pick it up, put Nightmare back down, discard another card. Okay, and then we're just like, all right, well, I don't have any cards left. Just great game of Magic. So, you know, from that standpoint, I'm happy to see that gone. This Town Ain't Big Enough, it's kind of a really cool card. I don't know that of all the ones that are banned, that's maybe the one I'm least excited to see banned. I think it just opens up some cool opportunities. You can bounce your opponent's stuff, you can bounce your stuff, you can bounce 2 of your stuff. Like, I think it's a pretty interesting card for 2 mana. So of all the cards, like, I'm not sad to see it banned, but I do think it's a cool card. I'm not sure if it needs to be banned or not. I mean, you can fit into a lot of different decks, right? Even like the Crab Beans deck was a cool one to slot that guy into. So anyway, that'll be the ban announcement. Yeah, this is cool. This is huge. I'm super excited. I don't know what I'll do first. Today is technically the ladder reset. I could try to do a rank 1 push. I did just this morning finish top 250. Hopefully, I'm currently at 150. Hopefully, no one like dethrones me. So I should qualify for next month's qualifier weekend tournament, which is standard, which I know you guys are hyped for. So I made sure to try to make that push. I woke up at like the stupid chicken here that wakes up at 4 a.m. But I was up at 4 a.m. So I did that this morning, and I don't know if I'll do a rank 1 push or not. I could try like a new mono red or Boros version without Rage or Heartfire Hero. See how it does. If I feel like playing for like 8 to 12 more hours today. And yeah, probably later today I'll release my pre-qualifier Pioneer Red event and also my historic qualifier weekend video as well. So yeah, this is big. This is huge. Get excited. I'm excited too. I'm gonna get an apartment freaking soon, hopefully, and then I'm pumped to pump out a lot of videos for you guys, especially given the ban announcement. So yeah, get psyched. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.